No one noticed when the train disappeared. It was supposed to be a routine military transport in 1943. The United States was deep in World War II, and trains loaded with soldiers, equipment, and classified cargo moved across the country every day. This train departed from a secured rail yard outside Chicago under heavy military supervision. The manifest listed standard wartime cargo, ammunition, radio equipment, medical supplies, and one sealed compartment. No label, no access, no explanation. Even the officers escorting the train didn't have clearance to open it. Only one man did, Dr. Elias Varn. He wasn't a soldier, but every guard on that train answered to him. He spoke little, always calm, always watching. The train's destination was a remote location somewhere in the Nevada desert. Private Daniel Mercer was assigned to guard duty. He was 21 years old. He had seen war before, but this mission felt different. Too quiet, too controlled, too deliberate. Inside the train, soldiers talked quietly. Some tried to sleep, others checked their rifles. Daniel sat near the window, staring into the darkness outside. Then he looked toward the last compartment, locked, guarded, silent. Two soldiers stood outside it at all times. They didn't talk, didn't move, just watched. Daniel walked closer. "What's inside?" he asked. No answer. The guards didn't even look at him. Daniel stepped back. Something wasn't right. Hours passed. The train moved deeper into the desert. Most soldiers fell asleep. Daniel didn't. He kept thinking about that door. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the train stopped. No warning, no signal, just stopped. Daniel stood up. What happened? No one knew. One soldier pulled the curtain aside. Nothing out there, just desert. Then a sound from the sealed compartment. A knock. Everyone froze. Another knock, louder. "That came from inside," whispered Daniel. The guards looked at each other. For the first time, they looked nervous. "That's impossible," one of them said. "There's no one inside." Then a voice, weak, broken. "Help me." Daniel's heart started racing. "There is someone in there." "Stay back," the guard said quickly. But Daniel didn't stop. He walked toward the door. The air felt colder with every step. Another knock, stronger. "Please." Daniel reached the door. He placed his hand on it and pulled it back instantly. "It's freezing." The guard grabbed his arm. "You don't understand what you're doing. Then tell me what's inside." No answer. Daniel looked at the handle, then at the guard, then back at the door. He grabbed it and opened it. Inside, there were no crates, no supplies, only one chair bolted to the floor, and a man strapped into it. His head hung forward, his skin pale, too pale, but he was breathing, slow, unnatural. Daniel stepped closer. "Hey, can you hear me?" The man's head moved, slowly. He lifted his face. Daniel froze. He had seen that face before, on a classified report. A man declared dead years ago. The man looked directly at him and whispered, "You weren't supposed to find me."
The lights in the train flickered. Once, twice, then steadied again. No one spoke. Daniel stood frozen in the doorway, staring at the man strapped to the chair. Behind him, the other soldiers slowly gathered. "What is that?" one of them whispered. "No idea," another replied. But no one stepped forward. No one except Daniel. He moved closer. The air inside the compartment was colder than the rest of the train. Not just cold, unnaturally cold, like the warmth had been pulled out of the space entirely. "Can you hear me?" Daniel asked again. The man didn't respond immediately. His head tilted slightly, like he was listening to something far away. Then his eyes opened, completely, fully aware, and wrong. Not empty, not lifeless, but too focused, too sharp, like he had been awake the entire time, watching, waiting. Daniel took a step back. "What's your name?" he asked. The man's lips moved slowly, as if speaking was difficult. "Name," he repeated quietly. Then he stopped. His eyes shifted past Daniel, toward the other soldiers, toward the guards, toward the train, and something in his expression changed. Recognition, not of people, but of the situation. "You shouldn't be here," the man said. One of the guards finally stepped forward, raising his rifle slightly. "That's enough," he said. "Close the door." Daniel didn't move. "We can't just leave him like this," he said. The guard's voice hardened. "That's not your decision." The man in the chair suddenly laughed, a dry, broken sound. "You think you're guarding something," he said slowly, "but you're not." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. "What does that mean?" Daniel asked. The man looked directly at him. "You're transporting it." Silence filled the compartment. Then, a sudden jolt. The entire train shook violently. The lights went out. Complete darkness. Someone shouted, "What the hell was that?" Another jolt, stronger this time. Metal screamed against metal. Outside, something hit the side of the train, hard. Daniel grabbed onto the doorframe to keep his balance. "What's happening?" he shouted. No answer, only chaos. The train lurched again, then stopped completely. Silence, heavy, oppressive. The lights flickered back on, dim, unstable. The soldiers looked around, breathing hard. "What hit us?" one of them asked. Another soldier ran to the window and pulled the curtain aside. He froze. "What is it?" Daniel asked. The soldier didn't answer. Daniel pushed past him and looked outside. At first, nothing, just darkness. Then, movement, far in the distance. Shapes, tall, thin, standing still, watching. Daniel's breath caught. "What are those?" someone whispered. No one had an answer. The shapes didn't move, didn't come closer. They just stood there, surrounding the train, as if they had been waiting. Daniel stepped back slowly. "This isn't normal," he said. Behind him, a metallic snap echoed inside the compartment. Everyone turned. The man, the restraints on his arms, had loosened. No one touched them, no one moved near him, but they had come undone. The man slowly lifted one hand, studied it, flexed his fingers, then looked up. "They're early," he said. The guards raised their rifles immediately. "Don't move," one of them ordered. The man didn't react. He looked past them, toward the outside, toward the shapes in the darkness. They found us faster this time. Daniel's heart pounded. "Who found us?" he asked. The man smiled, and for the first time there was something terrifying in it. Not who, but what. Outside, the shapes moved, at once, all of them, closer, fast, too fast. The soldiers backed away from the windows. "Get ready!" one of them shouted. Rifles were raised, hands shaking. The train creaked as something landed on top of it, heavy. Another impact on the side, metal bending, breaking. "They're on the train!" someone yelled. Gunfire erupted, loud, deafening. Bullets tore through the walls, through the doors, through the darkness outside. But it didn't stop them. Whatever was out there didn't stop. Inside the compartment, the man stood up, fully free now. No one had released him. The restraints hung loose at his sides. Daniel stared at him. "How did you—" The man didn't answer. He stepped forward, calm, controlled, unaffected by the chaos. "They don't want you," he said quietly. Daniel's voice shook.
Then what do they want? The man looked directly at him. They want me. Another crash. The door at the end of the train car exploded inward. Something came through, fast, violent, not human. A soldier screamed, then silence, then nothing. The other soldiers fired. Again, no effect. Daniel couldn't see clearly, only movement, shadows, too many limbs, too fast, too wrong. The man stepped past him, toward the door, as if he knew this had been before, as if he knew exactly what was coming. "You shouldn't have left the door closed," he said without turning back. Daniel's chest tightened. "What are you?" he whispered. The man paused, just for a moment, then said, "I'm what they were trying to create." Another crash echoed through the train, closer now. Daniel turned and saw one of the soldiers dragged into the darkness, gone in seconds. No struggle, no chance. The man kept walking, toward the broken end of the train, toward whatever was waiting outside. Daniel stood there, frozen, trapped between two impossible things. Behind him, the soldiers were dying. In front of him, the man who wasn't supposed to be alive. And outside, something that shouldn't exist at all. Then the man stopped, turned his head slightly, and said, "If you want to survive," a pause, then, "follow me."
Daniel didn't think. He moved. Behind him, gunfire continued, loud, desperate, useless. In front of him, the man stepped out of the compartment and into the shattered train car as if nothing could touch him. Daniel followed. The air outside hit him instantly. Cold, sharp, wrong. The desert stretched in every direction, but it didn't feel empty anymore. It felt occupied, alive, watching. The man walked forward, away from the train. No hesitation, no fear. Daniel glanced back once. He shouldn't have. The train was no longer just a train. It was being torn apart. Metal peeled open like paper. Something moved along its surface, fast, fluid, unnatural. A soldier fired point blank into it. The bullets did nothing. A second later, he was gone. Daniel forced himself to look away. "Keep moving," the man said. Daniel ran to catch up. "What are those things?" he asked, breath shaking. No answer. They moved across the desert, the ground crunching beneath their boots. The shapes that had surrounded the train were gone, or worse, they were no longer standing still. Daniel could feel them now, circling, closing in. "You said they want you," Daniel said. "Why?" The man kept walking. "For a long time," he said, "they couldn't reach this world." Daniel frowned. "What does that mean?" "They needed something," he continued, "a way in." Daniel's heart started to race again. "And you're that way in?" The man didn't respond. That was answer enough. They walked for what felt like miles. The train behind them grew distant. The sounds faded until there was nothing left but silence. Then lights, far ahead, dim at first, then clearer. A structure, low, wide, hidden against the desert floor. Daniel slowed. "What is that?" The man didn't stop. "It's where this ends," he said. They reached the edge of the structure. It wasn't a building in the normal sense. It was partially buried, reinforced, camouflaged, like it wasn't meant to be found. A heavy metal door stood at the entrance, closed, sealed. The man approached it, placed his hand against the surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a sound, deep, mechanical. The door unlocked, slowly. With a long, echoing hiss, it opened. Daniel stared. "You have access to this?" The man stepped inside. "I was built for it." Daniel hesitated. Behind him, the desert shifted. Movement in the darkness, closer now. He didn't wait. He followed.
The door slammed shut behind them. Instant silence. Inside, the air was warm, dry, still. Lights flickered on automatically, revealing a long corridor stretching into the depths of the facility. Concrete walls, steel doors, no windows, no signs. Daniel turned in a slow circle. What is this place? The man kept walking. A contingency, he said. For what? For me. Daniel swallowed. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to, the man replied. They moved deeper inside. The corridor opened into a large chamber, and when Daniel stepped in, he stopped. Rows of equipment lined the walls. Machines, strange, advanced, nothing like standard military technology. And in the center, more chairs, identical to the one on the train, bolted to the floor, empty, waiting. Daniel felt a chill run through him. "This is where they made you," he said quietly. The man turned to face him. "Not just me." Daniel's stomach dropped. "How many?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he walked to a control panel along the wall, pressed something. The room came alive. Lights brightened, machines hummed, screens flickered on, displaying data Daniel couldn't understand. Symbols, readings, movement. Then, one screen showed something clear. The train, from above. Daniel stepped closer. They're still there. What remained of the train was barely recognizable, destroyed, scattered, and around it, movement. Dozens of those things, swarming, searching. "They're looking for you," Daniel said. "Yes," the man replied. "Then why did we come here?" The man looked at him. "Because this is the only place they can't enter." Daniel felt a small wave of relief. Then the lights flickered, once, twice, then stabilized. The man's expression changed slightly. "Correction," he said quietly. "They weren't supposed to be able to enter." Daniel's chest tightened. "What does that mean?" No answer. Instead, a sound echoed from somewhere deep in the facility. A low, dragging noise, like something heavy moving across the floor. Daniel turned toward the corridor. "Tell me that's part of the system," he said. The man didn't respond. He was listening, focused. Then, another sound, closer. The dragging became clearer, slower, intentional. Daniel's hands started to shake. "They followed us," he whispered. The man finally spoke. "No." A pause. Then, "They were already here." Daniel's heart stopped. "That's impossible. You said this place was sealed." It was. The dragging sound reached the edge of the chamber, just beyond the doorway. Then it stopped. Silence. Heavy. Waiting. Daniel stared into the darkness of the corridor, trying to see, trying to understand. Then something moved, slowly, a shape emerging from the shadows, not fast like the others, not violent. This one moved differently, controlled, deliberate. It stepped into the light, and Daniel realized it wasn't like the others at all. It stood upright, still, watching, its form almost human, but not quite. Its skin pale, its limbs too long, its eyes locked directly on the man. Not Daniel, not the room, only him. The man didn't move, didn't speak. For the first time, he looked uncertain. The thing tilted its head slightly, studying him. Then it spoke, clear, calm, perfectly controlled. "You came back." Daniel felt his entire body go cold because he recognized the tone, the same voice, from the train, from the chair, from the man himself, but deeper, older, and something inside him understood. This wasn't something new. This was something that had been waiting long before the war, long before the train, long before any of them were born. The man took a slow step forward and said quietly,
I was hoping you wouldn't find this place.